I remember watching that moment on television and just leaping out of my chair. It was so extraordinary.
Thank you very much.
It was really one of the great, great moments.
And it's all spontaneous movement. Nothing in that piece was Billie Jean was planned but the moonwalk. Everything else was just, improvising, really.
Now we have a question from S.J. Champs who wonders, do you think you'll do another duet with Janet?
I would love to. It just depends on the song and the time. And she's in one corner of the earth, I'm in another place. It's very rare that our ships pass in the night. So it's not easy to do because we're both very busy. But that would be very nice. I love working with her. She's a true, real professional and a wonderful sister.
Excellent. We have Chic33 who wonders, who was your idol when you were a child?
I always went nuts for, and I could be asleep in Indiana at like 5 years old. I'd be asleep and there'd be a late night, like 1 in the morning, some show on. I remember seeing my mother run to my room, wake up, James Brown is on, James Brown is on.
Wow.
And wake up, or Sammy Davis Jr.'s playing, or Fred Astaire, they got a good Fred Astaire movie on. Gene Kelly's on right now. And I'd sit there with my eyes, I'd be awestruck just watching. So when videos came out, I had a collection.
Yeah, I understand that you have an extraordinary collection of kind of old movies, of all of the performers that you like, and old music performances of the artists that you admire. Talk about some of those and some of the stuff that you've got that you like to watch.
Well, I like to before I do anything, it could be any situation. I love studying the whole history of it before I take the first step to innovate. So I love studying any vaudevillians, who came from that era, even though they didn't have TV.
Sure.
But they transcended into television later on. I love people like Jackie Gleason, Red Skelton. I'm crazy about the Three Stooges, anything Walt Disney. And as far as performers, I love Anthony Newley, like I said, Jackie Wilson, James Brown.
Fantastic.
They're incredible. I mean, when James Brown was James Brown and the Famous Flames, he was so incredible. I would watch him and cry. I'd be crying as I'm watching him. I've never seen a person perform like that, ever.
It must have been extraordinary for you as, when you were young and making records and getting to meet some of your idols, that must have been such a powerful experience.
Oh, it truly was, and to have them tell me that they thought I was incredible, and all my life I thought they were like the best. It was the best compliment I could get, and no award could be given to me that could top that, When Fred Astaire or Gene Kelly, who I knew very well, or Frank Sinatra, told me they think I'm amazing and I have an amazing career ahead of me. As a child, they would tell me this because they were my neighbors. They lived by me.
Mm-hmm.
And I felt very honored and happy to hear those kind of words from these legends.
Yeah, that must have been very encouraging.
Yes, very.
Now we have M. Hagreis, who is actually Margriet from the Netherlands, a 26-year-old woman, says, is it true that you'll star in Men in Black 2, and will you record a soundtrack for that film?
I don't think we're doing a soundtrack, but I did a guest appearance, like a cameo for Men in Black 2, and we're expecting to do part 3 as well. And it was a lot of fun and exciting, and it's one of my favorite films of all time. I'm a big Men in Black fan. I love it very much.
Now, I understand you're also doing The Nightmare of Edgar Allan Poe. Could you tell us a little bit about that?
Yes, that one's coming up. It's about the great prolific American writer, Edgar Allan Poe.
Kind of a scary guy himself, too.
He's very diabolical and very dark, but he was a genius. But his own personal life is very interesting, and that's what it's about, how he was, what he had to go through to create such ingenious work. It's a great story. And by the way, make sure the fans know all tabloids should be out. Do not believe anything you read in a tabloid. It's garbage and it's junk. we should have a tabloid burning, like a big mountain, just set it afire.
You heard it first here from Michael Jackson.
Don't waste your time with it. It's stupid.
Now we have Rapmaster J.A. Writes in, who is actually Jason from Illinois. Says, Michael, you are undoubtedly the greatest artist in the history of the world. How do you do the moonwalk? It's the coolest move I've ever seen.
Gee, it's hard to explain on the phone, but
I can't imagine.
I love illusion dancing. It's like walking forward and backwards at the same time, but not just walking, but as if you're on a conveyor belt. And it's hard to explain. If he was in front of me, I could show him how to do it with my fingers or with my feet, but maybe he could see at the end of the Jam video where I'm trying to show Michael Jordan how to do it step by step. That's the only time I think I showed it.
Now, we have Mark DeShark who asks, how do you do that lean on the video to Smooth Criminal?
Oh, Smooth Criminal. Well, that one happened. It was in the middle of the shoot, and it wasn't. I choreographed it right at the moment. It took us an hour to execute it. It's a special effect that we kind of lean as far as we can, and we let the conveyor belts do the rest. You know.
Now, Glenn from Toronto, Canada, asks, do you feel a special spiritual energy when you're performing? Do you feel you are connected to a higher force? Because this is what you make many people feel when they see you live.
That's exactly what it is. You're connected to a higher source, and you just go with the moment, and you become one with, the spirit. And not to sound religious or anything, but it's a very spiritual, very much like religion, and it's a God-given gift. And you just go with it, and I'm honored to have been given it. And it's fun to become one with the audience. It's a oneness, you know?
I was reminded of some of that when you were talking about, the way you would work out your move, listening to, just listening to the music and kind of disappearing into it. It has that kind of, really mystical feel.
Thank you.
Now, Charlie sends in a question. It says, what achievement in your life are you the most proud of?
Boy, one of my biggest dreams since I was really, really little, I think around 6 or 7 years old, I used to always buy the Guinness Book of World Records.
Uh-huh.
You know what the answer is going to be. I said, I love to dance and sing. Hopefully one day I could be in this book. And I believed that it was possible. So when Thriller became the biggest selling album of all time, and it was enlisted in the Guinness Book of World Records, and there's so many other lists, they've enlisted me in there like 7 different times now. It was the happiest time of my life. I was so happy.
To what do you attribute, that level of, ambition and possibility that you felt when you were a kid? I think it's sometimes hard for people to feel, either, you weren't obviously rich as a kid or, from a kind of fancy background, but still somehow you were able to envision, a life of success. What do you attribute that to?
I attribute that to my parents who always taught us to persevere, believe in yourself, have confidence no matter what you do. Even if you're sweeping floors or painting ceilings, do it better than anybody in the world. No matter what it is that you do, be the best at it and have respect for others and be proud of yourself and to be honorable,
Absolutely. Now, you've been making records for a long time. You've been a force on the music scene for many years. What do you think are the biggest changes in music that you've seen?
Biggest changes?
Yeah, what's changed about the music industry or about, the music that's out there? What do you think is different?
Well, I think, I don't think people thought the rap music would last as long as it has.
Mm-hmm.
And it has gone through evolutional stages. There's more melody in it now. And it's more acceptable because melody will never die. It will never die. And the rhythms things are a little more rhythmic now because people want to dance. It's part of the human condition. It's part of our biological makeup. Our cells dance when we hear beats.
Mm-hmm.
I notice a one-year-old child will start moving, hearing music. How do they know to move?